This is what we're checking out today, RC drivers. The super cheap and super tiny Redcat Ascent 32. Look at this. This is awesome. Just like the Ascent 18, however, they scaled it down. This is a ready to run. So it comes out of the box, assembled, electronics installed, a 1S battery pack, a USB charger. You just got to provide some double A's for it. It's available in a number of different colors, and I think this thing is pretty awesome, guys. I got a sneak peek of it back at the NERSA show. And talking to the Redcat crew, they just wanted to give you guys something super cheap that you could crawl anywhere, throw it into your backpack, bring it to the office, wherever. I'm, of course, going to take it out here on the rocks. We're going to see how it crawls in just a minute, but let's take a closer look. So it's got the Ascent style body, just a single color on each of the versions, and it's got that little spin clip in the back that pops the body off nice and easy. Plenty of clearance for the tires. Gives you that truck body look. Tiny little bumper in the front and the rear. Plenty of clearance on those. Now let's get the body off and take a look underneath. And that's the chassis. Very similar design to the Ascent 18, and this has aluminum side plates on it. So we saw Axial's version of a 30th scale, and they had a composite chassis. Redcat has given us aluminum plates. That's going to be pretty awesome. Number of shock mounting locations there. Simple tray to hold the electronics. We've got some sliders on the side. Nice smooth skid on the bottom. Front plate there is where the battery goes with a simple Velcro strap, or I guess you could relocate it to the rear. It looks like we've got a plate there if you do want to go, let's say, throw in an aftermarket brushless system. You'll have some options as far as mounting your electronics, but really rigid platform for something so small. Definitely digging the look. And then we've just got some simple friction dampers here. No oil or grease on the inside. I bet you could throw a little grease in there just to add some sort of little damping to it, but aluminum caps on the top. Metal pivot balls are out on this, which is really cool. And then a 4-link setup. These links are pretty flexible, but again, metal pivot balls. And a little spoiler, they do have some aftermarket options out there. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But back to the suspension, it looks like it's going to work pretty well for its size. And then all four corners, we've got smaller versions of that lug tire that we saw in the Ascent 18 that we see on a number of Redcat rigs. No foam on the inside of these, medium compound. Not even glued to the wheels. So if you did want to throw different tires on, I guess you'd be able to do that. Definitely like the style of the wheels. And then into the drivetrain, guys. So just a scaled down version of the Ascent transmission in the center. Slider drive shafts. These are all composite, even the yokes. We'll have to see how those hold up because those pins look really small in those universals. But check out the axles. So we got straight axles front and rear and metal gears on the inside and ball bearings, guys. That's very cool. CV style joints in the front. Those knuckles look pretty solid too. For the scale, I don't think you're gonna have any durability issues unless you're dropping this thing off of a cliff. Steering just has some simple composite links. And then the electronics. So it does have a micro servo up front, plastic gears in that. And it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wire. So that's not something you're gonna easily replace unless you're swapping out all the electronics. Check out the size of that motor. That thing is absolutely huge in this small truck. I think that's a 180 size motor. And then they've got a 2-in-1 receiver speed controller combo. And again, it's 1S compatible. So you can't even throw a 2S in here. There's the tiny LiPo pack in the front. 3.7 volt and 300 milliamp. Finally, to control it, the RX32 transmitter, 2.4 gig. This is very toy-like. However, to get the price down, I guess they just had to scale down the style and the features of the radio system, but it should work. So when I first saw the Ascent 32, I instantly thought it was pretty cool because I'm a huge fan of the Ascent 18. I think I'm up to like 4 or 5 of those right now. They're kind of addicting and there's plenty of parts to build it up. And speaking of parts to build up, you need to stick around for the end of this video. I got to show you some really cool stuff for this. But I'm pretty impressed with how this thing works so far. Usually I'm a little worried about 1S systems, but this has some pretty good power to it, guys. So this is the low speed crawl here. That's about as slow as I could get it. Not too bad, looking pretty good. We've got some decent drag brake, watch. Nice easy stop there. Let me give you guys a full throttle run. That's full speed. Almost flipped over there when I hit the brake. Pretty smooth into reverse as well. Definitely like in this 1S system. I mean, again, I'm looking at it from the price tag perspective here. And you got some good control. Seems like the steering's working pretty good too. There is full lock. So that's a pretty tight turning radius for this small rig. And there is the opposite direction. Looking good. And as I suspected, the suspension feels a bit bouncy, guys. I mean, you can kind of see it wobbling. You can hear the body chattering a little bit. However, it's working pretty well. I haven't rolled it yet. Getting a little complex with the crawling. Look at that. Just had to add a little bit of throttle in. This thing's pretty capable. Now we'll go right for the big challenge. This uphill crawl here. A little bit of torque twist, pulling that front wheel up. But look at this, guys. Like a little champ. Nice crawl right up that incline. We'll swing it around, drop it back down now. This could get sketchy right here. This might result in a front flip. I was right. Just give it a little smoother of a descent angle here. There we go. Just take it nice and easy. Look at that, guys. That's pretty awesome. For such a small scale rig, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's just cute, cool, fun, everything all wrapped up. Look at that. It's settled in, little tire slip. Man, this thing is pretty neat. But now we gotta head back to the workshop because I gotta tell you about the collaboration Redcat did with Endura. Here's the Endura parts. So this is really cool. Redcat is gonna offer their own option parts for the Ascent 18, but they went and teamed up with Endura so you would have another aftermarket option to go and modify the truck if you want to. Let's check out what they have here. So first up, we've got brass diff covers, brass lower skid, brass knuckles. So that's gotta add plenty of weight to this rig, help keep it planted. Then they have oil-filled shocks. These look pretty awesome. Machined aluminum lower links, and yeah, they give you metal pivot balls and all those little O-rings to put on. Those are kind of a pain, but anyway, that's gonna work a lot better. Stiffen up those links, and then the aluminum steering links as well. So this is pretty awesome. Like all these upgrades, these are gonna come in a different video. That'll be on the RC Driver 2 channel. I'll put a link up above so you don't miss that. I know I sounded excited during the performance part of this video, and that's because I was driving it and thinking about what you're actually getting for $80, a ready-to-run rig. I mean, I actually spent more than $80 parking in New York City this past weekend for a comedy show, and that lasted 5 hours. This thing is gonna last a long time. It's gonna provide a lot of fun for indoor and outdoor crawling. I think it's pretty cool that Redcat came out with this. There's gonna be a ton of option parts, so you can build it up if you want to, or you can just enjoy it as is. It's a little bouncy in the suspension. When it gets hung up on rocks, you gotta blip the throttle, but there's a lot of larger crawlers out there that you'll have to do the same for. I think they did a really good job with this. I think it is absolutely worth the price.